thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up. Bang! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
That it finally is. Good afternoon, folks. I want to welcome y'all to the premiere edition of the Brian Snow Show. I was supposed to have done this in 2013, but for some reason, when I spoke the name, it didn't seem right to me. Why does it seem right to me now? I don't know. But this is the show where sports is the base, life and fun are the result, and it all comes together in a rapid fire hour of, basically it's going to be a rapid fire hour of sports talk. Now, what I am going to do for this premiere edition, just to get it out there, is have a little bit of a monologue so I can explain what's going on here. And then beginning tomorrow and really launching into Monday, this show will be on 5 days a week, and I got the chat lit up already. Sick Diggy from Norway joining us. Good afternoon to you. When I spoke this title, because someone had actually dared me to put my opinions and thoughts on air, and I had the materials needed to go online, and I said, okay, I'll try it. But when I spoke this particular title of the show that you see now, I said to myself, that doesn't sound right. It's not catchy. So I morphed it, which you see every day, every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. But then something inside of me says, keep trying it. Keep trying something in the afternoon, but don't have a catchy name to it. Just put your namesake on it. And it still, for a long time, didn't sound right. To me, it just didn't. I don't know why. It just didn't. But then, I want to say 2 weeks ago, it clicked. I cannot explain to you how it clicked. I cannot explain to you what drove it. I cannot explain that part of it. It just did. It just clicked. Everything just fell into place. And it originally started as the Brian Snow podcast. But then my brain got to thinking, what if it morphs? So I decided to replace the word podcast with show. I handed everything to executive producer extraordinaire, Mr. Cole Johnson. He put the peripherals together. He put the intro and outro together. And lo and behold, here we are. Here we are. And I want to thank everyone that has stood with me, that has, been a big part of the journey of the SDM Sports Radio Network. And to say that I appreciate you guys would be an understatement. It would be a horrible understatement. I just have to keep saying you all are appreciated. And I mean that. This is going to be something like the morning show. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be fun. It's going to be sports based, but there's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of live talk in the midst of it as a result. Let's see who's in the feedback zone. We got Sig Diggy is here. Victor Locke, my good friend, my best friend, my brother from Chicago is here. And my Dolphins brother, A Pizzle 90, joining us as well. Good morning to you guys. Good afternoon to you guys. I'm so used to seeing you guys in the morning that I spat out morning. I'm sorry about that. And we're just going to keep making this as great as we can. The thing I know that's going to help me is consistency. I have to be consistent in doing this. I have no choice but to be consistent, because now with the consistency of the morning show. And thank you, Cole Johnson, for that. James Keel, salute to the platform. And Sick Diggy just gave us our first commercial. By Uncle Foot body spray. Oh God. If y'all watch the morning show, you know who Uncle Foot is. I won't explain it here. I'll do more tomorrow. I promise. Today has just been a runaround day. It's just been a runaround day. I do have a game to finish preparing for. And the Warrior Howard Kinzel is here. The con man Michael Concecio is here. Benji Caldwell, thanks to you. And thanks to everyone that has checked in this afternoon with me. This is the time, the 3 p.m. hour is where you will see the Brian Snow Show every day. And I think I can say a lot of this inspiration is from all the clips I've seen of Dan Patrick, all the clips I've seen of Rich Eisen, and many others that have their namesake on a show. And I figure, why not? I figure I'll try it now. Even after 9 years of thinking this doesn't sound right. But, in a strange way, it feels right. It just absolutely feels right. So I have this funny feeling it's going to morph into what I do in the morning, except I'm doing it in the afternoon and having a little bit afternoon flavor to it. It's not going to be the same show, but it is going to be the same show, if you get the idea. I will have guests. I did not plan this day very well because just as I was about to go on about 20 minutes ago, I get a knock on the door. And then my dog ran out. So I had to chase down Lucy, or more to the point, Lucy wound up chasing me down. Finally got her in here, and I got this episode out just like I wanted to be sure I got this one in. And Warrior, let me answer your question. Message me. You want your show on my network? Message me. Let's get it going. The Hawk TV in the house. Hail to the Redskins. Like I said, Victor Locke is here. Bear down, Chicago Bears. But I will have a question of the day. I usually do this in the morning, and somehow the morning show still isn't as organized as I want it to be. That's why I've handed executive producing duties off to Cole. And Cole will not be in for the next 2 days. He has a checkup, and then he will be traveling. So I will handle the next 2 shows, including the Friday Spectacular with Chris Bass. The first half of this is how it's going to go down. The first half of the show is going to be all the sports news, the hottest subjects, and the second half of the show, that's when I'll have my guest on and we talk about any and everything, inside of sports, outside of sports, everything. And I mean that. That's when we'll talk about any and everything. And to the Warrior Howard Kinzel, I would love for you to be one of my first guests. I'd like you to send me a message. The Hawk TV, same thing to you, because I know you're a big time Redskin fan. And I know every time I play Hail to the Redskins, it gives him a big smile on his face. And I'm sorry I'm rambling. There's just so much on my mind at this time. But I will slip in one subject. I'll slip in one subject before I call it a day because I do have to run. And the one subject I'm going to slip in is this. Who says the 49ers can't get to the Super Bowl with a third string quarterback? I know y'all have heard me say this before, but think about this. Nick Foles got to the Super Bowl backing up Carson Wentz. And yeah, he was QB2, not QB3. But why can't a QB3 that's playing as dynamite as Brock Purdy is in that 49er offense get to the Super Bowl? Why not? Why can't he do it? Just the same, why can't the 49ers as a team get there? Earl Morrall guided the Dolphins to a Super Bowl. I already mentioned Jeff Hostetler from the New York Football Giants, who stepped in for an injured Phil Simms. He took him to a victory in Super Bowl 25. And the Giants are basically doing the same thing the 49ers are doing, holding onto the ball and running the football. That's it. That's all they're doing. And it wasn't supposed to turn out this way. It was supposed to be, quite honestly, a rebuilding year, because the 49ers handed the reins to Trey Lance at the quarterback position to see what he can do. He gets hurt. Jimmy Garoppolo comes in. And after the beatdown at the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs, they're off to the races. And then Jimmy Garoppolo gets injured, and everyone's wondering, okay, what can Brock Purdy do? And that injury, of course, with Garoppolo occurred against the Miami Dolphins. And and see, my thought is this: Jimmy Garoppolo should have been the starter from week 1. Okay, let me say that again. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hatred for this, but I don't care. Jimmy Garoppolo should have been the starter from week 1. The 49ers had no business, none whatsoever, picking up Trey Lance in the draft and trading all their draft capital to get him. I think that the 49ers listened to a lot of outside noise. And for a guy in Trey Lance, I mean, he's talented, yes. But I believe he doesn't have the time invested to play quarterback for this particular team, for this 49er team that is predicated on running the football. Brandon Dyer has a question. This is where we get interactive, and I love y'all for this. Brandon Dyer asks, who's the biggest threat to the 49ers in the NFC? I have a stupid answer for that, Brandon Dyer, and the answer is no one. Not even Philadelphia. Because Philadelphia has a fatal flaw. And that fatal flaw is they don't have a bell cow running back. They can beat you listen, all kudos to Philadelphia. They're my second adopted team in the NFC. They can beat you in a litany of ways. That has been proven this year. They're 13-1. But why don't I consider them a threat to the 49ers? It's pretty simple. They don't have the bell cow running back or running backs to compete with the 49ers running game. Matter of fact, the only thing that has stopped San Francisco from winning 3 Super Bowls within the last 5 years has been injuries. Injuries to Garoppolo, injuries to Deebo Samuel. We lost George Kittle for a while. Our offensive line was decimated in 2020. See, 2020 should have been a repeat year as NFC champions and should have been a Super Bowl championship. But injuries kicked us in the ass. All right, let's just be real. Injuries swatted us in the ass and right back down to the basement. Period. The biggest threat to the 49ers is injuries within their own team. We're already minus Deebo Samuel. We're already minus a couple of running backs, but you got Jordan Mason filling in. Okay? So the 49ers, their biggest threat is themselves in terms of injuries. That's the biggest threat. No one in the NFC can compete with that defensive line. No one. I said it at the top of the year, and I'm saying it after going into week 16. No one can compete with that defensive line. And if the Redskins think they're going to come into Santa Clara and steal a win from us, wrong again. Not saying the Redskins are not talented. They most certainly are. They most certainly are. But with the way the 49ers are playing right now, especially given the fact that they absolutely demolished the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 35-7. They crushed the Seattle Seahawks 21-13, and the final score wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. Hawk TV says, Snowman, the NFL owes us a game. This might be it. No. The NFL does not owe you a game, even though I will acknowledge that the Redskins got screwed royally on Sunday night. They got absolutely played to the left with some of the calls that happened. But at the same time, I'm being objective and I'm being fair. This is why you play the games. And Christmas Eve, it's going to be a Christmas Eve beatdown. Well, it might not be a beatdown. I mean, that Redskin defense is nothing to play with. It's nothing to play with. Take a look at the last 7 games. Since the Chiefs came into Santa Clara and beat us 44-23. Remember, it was 28-23 in the third quarter. Robbie Gould kicked a field goal on a drive that should have ended in a touchdown, but we shot ourselves in the foot. Absolutely shot ourselves in the foot. A red zone interception, not taking advantage of red zone chances against probably one of the worst red zone defenses in the AFC and the Kansas City Chiefs. I said it aloud. But since then, beat the Rams by 17, the Chargers by 6, by 28 over the Cardinals, shut out the Saints, hung 33 on the Dolphins, 35 on the Buccaneers, and 21 on the Seahawks. You have to play the cards you've been dealt. And believe it, be complaining. We don't just play ball. Go back to the era. Okay. All right. I'm sorry about that. Dan Levely asks what my Super Bowl predictions are. I'll give you those in a moment. It was not on you guys' end, it was on my end. And that's one of the things I'm working on here in the studio that by the top of the year should be completely solved. And to help out, I have the Cash App at the top of the screen and Patreon at the bottom of the screen because we really want to get this studio in shape because there are some sponsors that are going to come a calling. Dan Lovely asks me this question since we're talking football. Do you think the Lions can win out and go to the playoffs? I don't know. I really don't know. They can if they keep playing the way that they're playing. And Victor Locke said it best. All the Lions need to do is keep running the football. And not on a whim either. They need to keep running the football and keep running it well. Now, nothing against Jared Goff, but don't depend on him to get you to the postseason. See, the Vikings are doing that with Kirk Cousins, and that's a mistake. And now I will answer Dan's question. I'm going to make a prediction that I've been making since 1990. Bills, 49ers. There you go, Dan. Our fan question of the day from Dan Levely. What's your Super Bowl prediction? Bills, 49ers. That's my Super Bowl. I originally at the top of the year said Bills and Chiefs, but I don't trust the Chiefs. For some god-awful reason, I do not trust the Kansas City Chiefs. Especially given the last couple of games in the way that they played, because they had no business going to overtime with the Houston Texans. And then A Pizzle says Chiefs, Eagles. No, because now that let me go back a little bit. People have questioned how long I've been a 49er fan. Let me answer your question. 1981. Their first Super Bowl year, and I knew then they were something special. And all because of a fellow by the name of Joe Montana, a real quarterback. You get that, Colin Kaepernick? Thank you, Josh Lopez, for that. You get that, Tua Tagovailoa? Nothing against Tua. Nothing against him whatsoever. But I don't trust the Chiefs right now. Even though they're going to wind up being the number 1 seed, they can be beaten at home. Just ask the Cincinnati Bengals. And that's another team in the AFC you need to watch. But today's discussion is about the San Francisco 49ers and why no one still trusts them to get to Phoenix, Arizona. The way I look at it right now, the way that they're playing, even starting 3-4 on the year, they're playing with nothing but house money. Period. They're playing with nothing but house money. They're not even honestly supposed to be in this position because they lost their first 2 quarterbacks. They lost QB1 and QB2 to injury, debilitating injury. And yet here is Brock Purdy leading them to the NFC West Championship. And how about that double pump play against Seattle? 2 fake tosses, in the words of Al Michaels, and then finds a wide open George the Animal Kittle over the middle. Kittle over the middle. How about that? Like Jack Buck said in a Redskins game on CBS, hey, diddle, diddle, Riggins up the middle. Well, how about hey, diddle, diddle, Kittle down the middle? And George Kittle is the best tight end in the game right now, period. Forget. And let me borrow the words of The Rock. My man George Kittle will block. He will catch a pass. He'll lay the smack down on your candy ass. Sick Diggy with a question. Do you ever notice how plenty of QBs are one-time Super Bowl winners, and after that they become inconsistent as hell? Inconsistent as hell. I already mentioned some of them. I like the Niners. They're an all-around solid team, even with a Brock. Push comes to shove, give the ball to CMC and get out of the way. Or give the ball to Elijah Mitchell. There's a chance. That's the name I was looking for. Give the ball to Elijah Mitchell. Give the ball to Jordan Mason. Give the ball to somebody that can run the damn ball. That's it. That's it. Who's to say they can't get to who's to say they can't get to Phoenix, Arizona with a QB3? I have people giving me reasons, oh, they're beat up, and we still won 7 in a row. They're playing with Brock Purdy. Yes, we are, and we're playing quite well. They don't have enough to get there. We got more than a lot of other teams right now. And let me tell you the other reason I don't trust the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl. I love you, Patrick Mahomes, but you got to be coupled with a running game. That is not to diminish one of the most dynamic quarterbacks playing the game right now. That is not to do that at all. I'm just saying I grew up old school, remembering not only do you need a passing game, but you need a hell of a running game. See, this is what scares most of the NFL right now with San Francisco. that they're going to run their asses all the way to Phoenix, Arizona, and run over teams in the process. Let me say that again. They're going to run all the way to Phoenix, Arizona, and they're going to run over teams in the process, including Philadelphia. And that's the fatal flaw I see in the Philadelphia Eagles. You don't allow Jalen Hurts, and I love you, Jalen, but Jalen, you got to turn the ball and hand the ball off to somebody 25 times. You shouldn't be the one running 25 times, because sooner or later, a defense is going to figure out what they need to do. I give you the example of the AFC Championship last year. Patrick Mahomes was doing stupid stuff and guided the Chiefs to a big lead, but gambled. They made an incorrect gamble in the first half, and it cost them in overtime. As I see it right now, the number one seeds are going to be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. But neither one will get to Phoenix, Arizona. My buddy Drew Willingham, who I do the Sports Senseis with every Monday, and we're going to restart that on January 2nd. Man, January 2nd is a launch date for my entire network. It's going to be a relaunch date. I'll explain that before I get out of here. You know, he claims he got me to say aloud that we can win the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. I've been saying we could win the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, and people laughed in my face. I said the same thing about Brock Purdy, and people are still laughing in my face. They're still laughing in my face. Well, anybody see that 54-yard touchdown pass thrown beautifully to George the Animal Kittle? Anybody see those 2 touchdown passes to George Kittle? Anybody see how that running game has been absolutely dynamite? And what I'll talk about tomorrow is some of the quarterbacks that are going to run their asses out of the NFL because they don't have a running game to lead on, like Justin Fields, like Jalen Hurts, like Josh Allen. And I know I'm going to get a lot of mess for that. But those are 3 quarterbacks that are going to be in serious trouble health-wise. That is tomorrow. But to finish up today, I like the 49ers' chances of getting to Phoenix, Arizona and Super Bowl 57. Matter of fact, I'll go one step further, and y'all heard it first, because I figure the Niners are playing with nothing but house money anyway. I figure they're playing with nothing but house money anyway, because everybody's picking Philadelphia and everybody's picking Kansas City. I don't trust Kirk Cousins. I sure as hell don't trust Dak Prescott. And to a point, because he doesn't have a bell cow running back to couple with, I do not trust Jalen Hurts. Even though the Eagles are the number one seed as of right now, and they can beat you in a litany of ways, but you know something? So can San Francisco. You know, Sick Diggy, our last comment of the day. Let them laugh. It's clear the 49ers are the team that everybody loves to hate. Like Nickelback is hated when it comes to rock. Absolutely. Hell, the 49ers were hated back in the 80s, and they were known as the team of the 80s. You know why? Because when they showed up to play. And now they even have more of a sinister running game than they did back in the 80s with Roger Craig and Tom Rathman. Oh, y'all didn't hear me. Let me say that again. They have more of a sinister running game than they did back in the 80s with Roger Craig and Tom Rathman, or in the 90s with Ricky Waters and William Floyd. And for those 2 reasons right there, the fact that they have a running game and they have weapons all over the place, including Christian McCaffrey, who will be signed to a long-term deal by the 49ers, Trust me. I mean, you get him for half a season and you expect not to sign him for 4 to 5 years? Watch this. Watch this. And he's home now. And remember, his father, Easy Ed McCaffrey, was a 49er once upon a time. So he is very capable in that offense. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. That's my abbreviated show for today. Tomorrow, the subject will be quarterbacks that should fear their lives, their football lives. Quarterbacks that should fear their football lives. Thank you all for being patient with me. Thank you all for showing your support, early support of the Brian Snow Show. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And I am out of here. I'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Thank you for tuning into The Brian Snow Show, where sports is the base, life and fun are the results.
Tune in to the Brian Snow Show every day at 3 p.m. Eastern. You'll be glad you did.